All right, well, congratulations. If you've made it to this video, most likely you have finished creating an account and are ready to decide what your next step should be in the process of getting your data uploaded. So you have a couple of choices that you need to make. Do you want to start from the beginning? In other words, do you want to go all the way back to the point where you began your business, or do you want to basically create a cutoff date and start from that point in time? Now, the pros and cons of starting from the beginning or using a cutoff date are pretty simple. If you go back to the beginning of time when you started your business, you're going to have better comparison data for year-by-year comparisons for the growth of your business, the impact of different vehicles or groups of vehicles, and the revenue that each one has made over time. You can see increases and declines, but it's going to take you a lot more time to add that data. What a lot of people do is they pick a cutoff date, like the first of this year. So the end of the previous year is when you load the data for the previous year or all of the previous years. You do a year-end load, and then you just walk it forward on a detailed month-by-month basis from the beginning of the current year. So those are your two choices. One is slower but gives you more better comparison data. The other is faster, but you don't have the benefit of having comparison data from prior years. So what are you going to need? You're going to need two things. You're going to need Turo earnings reports, and you're going to need bank transaction reports. Now, the Turo earning reports are real easy to get. You can just go to your earnings section on Turo and download a CSV file for a year. And you can do that for each of the years that you've been in business, and that'll have all the detail on a car by trip. In other words, you'll have great detail for every trip that each vehicle you have took and how much revenue was made. It's tracked by month. That's real easy to do. The other thing that you'll need to do is you'll need to download your bank export data, your transaction data. All banks allow you to generate a CSV export file, so you'll want to generate a CSV export file for the current period that you're going to. Well, basically, if you're doing a rebuild of the entire time that you've had your business, you'll go back and get an export file for each of the previous years. If you're only going to do it for this year, then you'll just do it for the months that have already transpired for this year. If you're going to start fresh, you're also going to need a beginning point report. That'll be a combination of balance sheet and income statement, because you're going to input the balance sheet and income statement detail for the end of the prior period, whatever that period is, whether it's the beginning of the year, that'll be for the previous year, or some other point in time. So those are the things that you'll need. Now, I just want to explain to you, make sure you understand the difference between bank transaction data and Turo earnings report export data. Banks provide you with the total deposit that Turo makes into your bank on a daily basis. That deposit is not broken out by vehicle or by trip. Turo, on the other hand, provides you with earnings data on a by trip, by vehicle basis. So you're going to take the deposit that comes in from your bank and you're going to assign that to a vehicle named unassigned. And that's where you're going to put all of your deposits for rental income or whatever else you have. You're going to put it into vehicle unassigned. Then when you import the earnings report from Turo, it's going to automatically assign those revenues to the individual vehicles, and it'll do that on a trip-by-trip basis. But it's going to then remove the revenue that has been assigned to the unassigned vehicle. So you'll initially put it in a vehicle called unassigned, and then you'll remove it from that vehicle and you'll allocate it out. Now, the allocation process when you import the the earnings report, that's automated. You don't actually have to do anything. The system has totally automated that for you. But when you import the data, you do have to go through the transaction assignment process. Now, it's real easy to do because all Turo transactions are typically going to be assigned to the category of rental income, and then it'll automatically go into an unassigned vehicle list when you do that. Now, you'll tell it, but it'll go into the unassigned vehicle list, and then the allocation or assignment of vehicles will happen automatically when you import the earnings report. Okay, so to do this, once you decide how you want to proceed, let's presume that you start by importing your banking data first. You'll click on the Banking tab on the left side menu, and then you'll click on the Upload CSV transaction file. So you'll previously have downloaded a bank transaction file, which will be a CSV file type. Your bank will give you probably a couple of choices. Choose the CSV file type. And then click on the blue button that says Upload CSV Transactions. Now, the first time that you do this with any particular bank, you'll need to make sure that the field names match up in the CSV file and in the system. It's real simple. Almost all banks have a field called Description, which is a description field of the transaction. Then you'll have a transaction number or a check number. You'll have debits and credits. It's a real simple process. You match them up. And once you've done that, you can save the match to a bank name. And in the future, you won't have to, if you're just importing that same file structure, the system will automatically recognize it. You won't have to match the transactions again. Okay, so after you select and upload the CSV file, you're going to see a table presented. It's not shown here now because there has not been one loaded, but you'll see a table loaded where you'll go through a process of assigning transactions to accounts. And so you'll assign deposits to rental income, and you'll assign some expenses will go to oil changes, and other expenses will go to repairs and that sort of thing. Now, typically in the bank transaction assignment process, you don't necessarily have all of your detail handy, so you won't necessarily know which vehicle that particular oil change was for. So again, you'll typically just assign those to the unassigned vehicle, and then later you'll come back and make specific vehicle assignments to move the expenditure into a particular vehicle, so you'll be able to see that data. Now, the next thing that you're going to want to do, and by the way, that'll take some time going through your transaction list, especially depending upon how many transactions you have. It can take quite a while, or it can be fairly quick. Next, you'll want to upload the Turo earnings report. So you'll go to Reports, then that will open a drop down, and you'll click on Import Turo Report. And then you'll do three things. You'll select the bank. If you only have one bank, then that'll be the only option that you'll have. You'll select the bank. You'll choose the earnings report that you've exported. It'll be a CSV file. And then you'll click Load CSV File. The rest of the process is automatic. And it will automatically move the revenue that has been earned out of the unassigned category when the deposits were made and into the vehicle specific earnings, so that you can see those earnings on a vehicle by vehicle basis, and also the transactions, the expenditures that you've made out of your bank will then be visible as well once you've made those individual vehicle allocations. So when all of this is said and done, your dashboard, which initially will not have any data in either the income or the balance sheet summary sections, will then have that data, and you'll be able to begin using your dashboard as a point of reference for managing your business. All right, I hope this has helped. I hope you've now made a decision as to which route you're going to go, and if you need some help deciding, please feel free to give us a call, and we will be glad to talk you through the decisions and the process. Thanks for watching, and look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Bye.